This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, August 18th, 2008, and this is episode 449 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me today is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, Matt, what's going on?
Not much. It's Monday.
Yay.
I'm so excited.
Yay. I'll be down there on Saturday.
Oh, bum.
Wow.
Also here.
Oh, you hear that? Oh.
Also here today is Annette Owens, the fabulous Annette Owens, of MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Welcome, Annette.
Hey, out of practice. I've been gone too long.
I know. Finally, somebody from North Carolina shows up for this show.
You know, we can't be here together.
And also joining us once again is Van from Netcot.com and the Netcot podcast. Welcome, Van.
Thanks. Glad to be here again.
Well, on today's show, we're talking about restaurants to avoid. There's certain restaurants that I'm sure there's many restaurants that we don't care for, but there are certain restaurants I think we all think that, we just don't advocate anyone go to for one reason or another. And it can be very subjective because some people might, for every person who thinks that the Sci-Fi Dine-In is a good restaurant, I call those people wrong. There's other people who don't like it at all. So again, these are going to be our opinions on terms of restaurants that we just don't think that we'd like. So I think what we'll do is we'll just throw out restaurant names there, ones that you may think is on your list of restaurants to avoid, and we can comment whether what we agree about it, why we don't like it, things of that nature. So I'm going to start things off. I'll make it easy for all of you, and I am going to throw out there, and this is for both of them, the Rainforest Cafes. There's one at Downtown Disney and one at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Do I have a second from anybody here?
I don't know if you want to avoid it. It's okay. I don't think it's great, but
see here. All right. Beyond anything else, here's the number one reason why I say avoid it. Because odds are you can go to your local mall at home and you can eat there.
Now, odds are they closed a lot of them.
Good.
See, you can't where I'm at, so that's kind of a novelty for my kids.
They took it away from my mall, too.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not defending it. I'm just saying it's okay. For what it is, it's okay. It's not something I'll go out of my way to go to see, but I wouldn't write it off if there was nothing else around.
No, I'd write it off. I'd rather go to McDonald's than go to go there.
I'd rather go there and sit down and have something nice than McDonald's.
Because the problem is you go there, the food's overpriced, the service is slow, and it is incredibly loud in there.
I agree on every one of those points. I totally agree. But it is what it is, and that's what I'm saying. If you, I'm not. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, but I disagree.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Van, what do you think? Yay or nay on the Rainforest Cafes?
That's a tough one. I've got one here in town in Minnesota, so I can go see that anytime. So why would I see it in Disney? So I see your point on that one. The other thing is that, the Downtown Disney one, there's always a huge wait. So are you ready to sign up for that? And then, I'll admit that I've made the decision to go to the Animal Kingdom one long after they were closed, not realizing that they would close with the park. We're about the same time. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go with you on nay on that one.
Okay, fair enough. Van, you actually submitted this show topic idea. I think it was a great idea. Why don't you go next?
All right, I'm going to throw out, Tony's over at the Magic Kingdom.
I will second that nomination.
And here's the thing: I think it's a great idea. It's a great location. I'm totally down with Italian food, but the food isn't good, and it's too expensive, and it's tough to get in. So, no. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that they just rest on their laurels for simply being in the Magic Kingdom, and that's enough for them. And they can throw out, Chef Boyardee and say, you know what, this is going to cost $30 and enjoy. I completely agree that I think it's just bad food and totally not worth it. Newell, what do you think of Tony's?
I've never been to Tony's.
Have you been avoiding it on purpose?
Well, from all the negative feedback that I've heard about it, I really I come from New York, so good Italian food is a given here. Yeah, so exactly. I kind of have the same feeling about it as Scopa has with seafood in Disney. So I'll go off-site for good Italian food, I think, if I really wanted it.
Okay. Annette, what do you think of Tony's?
Yeah, I eat there twice. It is very overpriced.
Yep.
I was able to grab ADRs there when I couldn't get one anywhere else in the Magic Kingdom, so that was part of the reason why I was there.
Right.
But not a lot of atmosphere.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's a good point in it, the lack of atmosphere over there. Because, Tony's, it's the reason why it's called Tony's is obviously because it's a reference to Lady and the Tramp, the film. And the Tony's is the name of the restaurant, the one where the big stereotypical Italian guy is the chef over there, and he sings and dances and gives the food to the dogs. I mean, that's what it's named after. But really, you're right about that, Annette. There really isn't a whole lot of theme to it. It doesn't feel like you're in the movie over there by any means. I think there's a statue and the typical checkerboard tablecloth, and I think that's about it. So I think they missed out. At least they could have done something with that, and unfortunately, they missed an opportunity there. One other restaurant that's on my list that I wanted to also mention was over at the studios, and this one I mentioned many, many times on the show, and that's the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater. This is a classic example of atmosphere does not override bad, expensive food. I think you're seeing a trend developing with all the restaurants that I've mentioned, and Van has already mentioned, is that the food that's just bad and overpriced, or mediocre, I should probably say. I mean, there's never any bad food, like in terms of like, oh my God, this is terrible, but it's just, nothing special by any stretch of the imagination. And when it's overpriced, it just makes it even harder to, pardon the pun, swallow. But
that was.
I try.
And that'll end this episode.
Yeah, right. I don't know. What do you guys?
Comments too.
What do you think of the Sci-Fi?
I'm with you on that one. I absolutely love the theme of that place. I mean, it's one of the restaurants that potentially is my favorite. And every single time I go there, I look at the menu. I'm like, all right, it's going to be hit or miss. I grab something, and inevitably, the food is just not good. And the price is high, the atmosphere is outstanding, but I just don't understand why they don't hire somebody who enjoys food to cook the food there.
Yeah, I just don't. I think they could just do so much better job with the food. I mean, really, the menu's uninspired and again, not good at all. I mean, I tried it again. I was just there on July 4th. In fact, I got a last-minute ADR. Was able to get in there, surprise, surprise, and because it was about, I think, 2 years since I tried it again. I figured, well, it's worth giving it a shot. Swing and a miss. So, nothing over there. Newell, what's a restaurant that you tend to sway away from?
Wow. I'll tell you something that I was surprised at. I used to sway away from over in Germany.
Beer garden?
The beer garden. Not a big fan of German food, but I went during Star Wars weekend with Fred Block, and I was totally surprised how good it was.
A way to drop a name.
I like Fred.
Shout out to Fred.
I know, and Fred's going to text me when he gets this. As soon as he gets this, he's going to text me on the bus.
Yep. See, the good thing about Beer Garden also is that it's also very inexpensive. It's a good value for what it is. Annette, what do you think of Beer Garden?
Well, I think the atmosphere there. See, this is you're catching on to the word for me. Sometimes it's more about the atmosphere than the food. Sometimes, if I'm going to spend the time to go and take my time out of the park. Mm-hmm. I want a little bit of that atmosphere. I want to feel like I'm stepped away.
Yep.
And into the culture a little.
See, I agree with you 100%. I think atmosphere. I mean, that's what eating at Disney World is all about. It's not just food. If it wasn't about the atmosphere, we'd all be eating at Wendy's, off property. But the atmosphere adds to it. But I think I'm not one person who's willing to forego the atmosphere in favor, forego the food in favor of the atmosphere. Right. And a lot of people. A lot of people go to Disney World and say, we're on vacation. It's Disney World. I don't care. I'm here for a show and entertainment. But to that, I always say, well, why do you have to sacrifice your, food quality? Why do you have to pay a lot for bad food? I mean, that's why, that's what like Medieval Times is, when you go off property and those kinds of shows over there. I mean, those are really bad food.
Oh, bad food.
Yeah. And,
And dust.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just... in favor of a show which is supposed to be and the show's not even that great anyway. But I digress. I'm going to go back to my principle here and say that atmosphere is not enough to outweigh food. I guess that's one over there that I wanted. Van, back to you.
As far as the Germany thing goes, I like it. I think I tell people that it's a safe, daring place to try. Mm-hmm. Because it's a little bit different, and you kind of look at the menu and you're like, I'm not so sure about this, but I think just about anybody can find something there they like, and because it's, kind of the buffet style, you just go up for the things that you like over and over again. And I really enjoy drinking beer out of a big, stein kind of thing. So sign me up for that any day.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so it's all about the beer there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Nice. What else you got on your list, Van?
I'm also going to throw out there, we'll stay in Epcot for a second, a couple that are like cautionary ones. Mm-hmm. I would say that the restaurant over there in Mexico, the La Cantina,
yes,
and the Coral Reef, for the same reason. I think both of those have just got outstanding, atmosphere.
Yep.
But to your point about the food, you kind of have to be aware of what you're getting into. I think with the Mexico one, it's not your kind of taco burrito kind of Mexican food. It's it's a little bit more, it's a little bit different. And then over at Coral Reef, I always check the menu first because I think they change it just enough that it might be a hit or miss kind of thing.
Right. No, I agree with you with going back to Mexico for a second. Van, are we talking about the counter service place or San Angel in the full service?
Yeah, the full service one that's actually in the Mexico building. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That one has beautiful atmosphere. I mean, really, whenever you go on the now it used to be El Rio del Tiempo, but the Grand Fiesta Tour, when you go on those boats over there, every time I go on that boat, I see the people eating there. I'm like, ooh, man, that looks good. That look, like I want to get off the boat and go eat over there right away. But then every time I do eat over there, I go, oh wow, now I remember why I didn't eat here for a long time.
Exactly.
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Annette and I were talking about this a little before the show, and what it is Mexican food is so well established now in the United States. It's kind of like what Chinese food has become, in the United States. I mean, it's almost everywhere now, and in a lot of places they do a really good job with the Mexican food that's available. And really, the Mexican food that's over here just does not do much for me at all.
Well, I can go around the block here from my house and get Mexican food for maybe a fifth of the cost of what it would be there too.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's definitely authentic.
Yeah, I mean, we'd had a funny story. Annette came down to one time for a trip, and I told Annette, let's go out to dinner, and we went off site to we had mentioned this place on the show before, Casa Vallarta, which is located right on 535 over there. And so we go over there, and this is authentic I would say you would agree with me, Annette, that it's authentic Mexican. So authentic that they even had their own mariachi band. And so the mariachi band comes to our table and says, would you like to play any song? Now, okay, Van, I'm not sure about you, but I'm not very familiar with many Mexican songs. But there is one song in particular I do know very, very well. So I requested the theme song from El Rio del Tiempo. Now, I don't know if you've ever gotten a blank stare from a mariachi band before, but it went something like, El Rio del Tiempo? Okay?
So they substituted.
Yeah, exactly. So they were like, I was like, after about a couple seconds of dead silence and Spanish back and forth between them, something along the lines of El Diablo Blanco. I basically said, all right, or something else, and they ended up playing the Mexican hat dance song. Going to some, the other ones. There's some other restaurants around Disney World property that are a little more outside the parks. I'm talking about that are a little, they're the ones that I tend to, it's a little harder to avoid. What are some restaurants that are at some of the resorts that you guys have run into and said, this really isn't the place for me? Or
I've got one, Olivia's at Old Key West.
Yeah, see, I've heard that a lot, and I went there. I've been there. Well, why don't you put out your piece? Say why.
So here's my story with it. It's you don't expect much from it, right? Because it's just it's at the resort and whatever, and it's kind of it's more of a place to just eat when you're kind of on the go or you need a quick breakfast or whatever.
I've been there. Is it once or twice? I know I've been there once with the Newell. I don't remember if it was once or I think just once. It's comfort food. It doesn't do a whole lot for me in terms of the food options. I mean, I'd rather go somewhere else and eat somewhere else. I think, Mike, the reason why we ate there was because you guys were staying at Old Key West and it was there.
That's right. Yeah, we were so tired. We just wanted to go somewhere close.
Yeah, exactly.
And not to defend Olivia's, but the dinner is much better than the breakfast there. I haven't had breakfast there in years. I couldn't tell you how long it's been because I'm not a big fan of the breakfast there either. The dinner's much better.
I would put Olivia's would fall into a restaurant category where I wouldn't say restaurants to avoid, but I wouldn't recommend it either. You know what I mean? It's kind of like in that.
That's always to me. That's if I have nothing else planned and everything else is booked and I can't find anything, it's always okay. Well, we can always go to Olivia's. That's like the last place that we.
That's like that list. That's like that kind of recommendation. Mike is like that listener that came up to us at MouseFest one year and said, "I listen to you guys when I have nothing better to do."
Exactly, and now I know how he feels.
That's awesome.
Wow.
just a great. I mean, he obviously meant it much better than that, but that's how it came out, and we always.
That's what you think. I'm thinking maybe not. I don't
exactly. What are some other restaurants? And is there another one on your list?
I have to say I ate at Boatwright's recently, and being from the South, it was not what I was expecting at all.
What meal did you have there?
I was there for dinner.
Okay.
And it's definitely more, you're at Port Orleans Riverside, not French Quarter, Riverside, but it seemed to have more of a New Orleans flair. So
right.
Everything was very hot and spicy, and for people like me that aren't into that, I wanted some good old-fashioned fried chicken and mashed potatoes.
I should have got Olivia's.
Nothing like that, Yes.
Now that was good. That was good.
Yeah. I've only been there for breakfast many years ago, so I can't really comment on Boatwright's terribly much. I'd like to try it again, just because it has been there. It's been a while since I've been there. That one's tough. The other one I was teetering on before the show, I was thinking about this. Newell, I know you ate there, and I think you were there too at not Artist Palette, the other one, Artist Point.
Yeah.
Yes.
This one's toughy. Because I was thinking about it. I know you guys, we all had a similar experience there where we all ate there. Thank you, Lon. And even though we didn't pay for it, which is always makes a meal taste better.
Yep.
Still, would you guys, Newell, would you really recommend that restaurant?
That's a really tough one. I love the theming. I love where it is. It's very pricey. The food is, it's good. It's not great for what you're paying. But I have gone back, and I probably will go back again.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in there that really knocks you over.
Yeah. Generally speaking, a lot of the restaurants at Walt Disney World do a very good job, and that's why obviously we go down there quite a bit, and we enjoy it. It's a great experience, and they do a good job. They're just, and this isn't. I don't think even Artist Point is a bad one. It's again, that's in that neither region. There's very few, and those are the ones we're trying to highlight, are the ones that were like, whoa. Someone needs to go back to the drawing board here, like Tony's, like the Sci-Fi, like, in my opinion, the Rainforest Cafe. And there's one more I wanted to really mention, which was Cinderella's Royal Table.
Yes.
Oh.
I second that emotion.
Thank you.
Which meal?
All of them. All of them, really. It just, again, wow. When we were talking about Tony's paying for the location, this one, you're definitely paying for the location over here. Dinner's $43 for an adult, $27 for a child. Breakfast will run you $35 for an adult, $24 for a kid. You have to get they make you take the photos, which is obviously part of the cost. I don't see it as worth it. I know that it's obviously okay. I'm not the primary target audience. Obviously, it's those little girls who are going to see it like, oh, I would love to eat there. But man, just looking at it, I can't bring myself to go there, and that's definitely one I wish they would do a better job with, because I know where it is, and I know it probably sells itself, but really, I think they could just do such a better job of the food they offer there, of the service, of the experience. You know what I mean?
Well, I miss the days of when you could go in and actually pick what you wanted to eat.
Yeah.
Versus going and having to get the full meal. One of our favorite parts of our trips with the girls, because they were the target audience for that, when they were younger, was to go up and have dessert in the castle during fireworks. Mm-hmm. Can't do that anymore because dessert will cost you the price of a dinner and a picture.
Yeah, it's a fixed price set meal, so you have to, like Annette was mentioning. There is no ordering. It's just, here's your food. Yeah, and that's just that bothers me. Obviously. This is also, a lot of these restaurants, if you're noticing, are 2 table service credit meals. At least this one is. And generally, it's my opinion also that no restaurant is worth 2 table service credits when you're on the dining plan. It's better to pay with cash if you are going to go to any of these. But they're definitely not worth the 2 table service credits here. Van, did you want to comment more on Cinderella's Royal Table?
No, I think you guys hit it all. It's just the food isn't great. The way that it's set up isn't great. It bugs me that, I'm kind of suckered in with this picture thing. I have an issue with that. Again, the atmosphere is great. That's outstanding. Love to sit there and watch fireworks and everything, but you should get a lot higher quality food for that kind of money.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Any other restaurants that you guys wanted to throw in there?
I got one. Spoodles.
Really?
Yeah. So here's the deal with Spoodles over at Boardwalk. It started off as being this like surprise hit for me. The first few times I went there, I absolutely loved it. It was on my must-see list. And then all of a sudden, they decided to start kind of changing the foods, and I don't know what they were doing to it. But the last 2 or 3 times I've been there, it's been horrible.
Really?
Yeah.
I've had nothing but great experiences over there. I ate there a couple months ago now with one of our listeners, and it was just I thought it was great. Every time I've gone there for I think I've only been there for dinner. No, I take that back. I've been there for breakfast one time before. The breakfast is good because they have that all-you-can-eat breakfast option where they, as long as you keep clearing your plate, they'll keep bringing more to you, which is like a poor man's Trail's End breakfast. It's just eggs and bacon and hash browns, and they'll just keep refilling it. But I've always liked that. That's really surprising to me. Annette, you didn't like it either?
Well, I think for me, I was there for breakfast, and got an omelet. I wasn't doing the all-you-can-eat.
Right.
Sitting at the table all day like you did. But it's loud. It's very, very loud in that restaurant.
Yeah, I think
it was very, very hard for us to talk. There's nothing to absorb that sound.
That's a good point. They have that pizza window, which all pizza in Walt Disney World I avoid like the plague. I mean, that's just asking for bad food if you order the pizza over there. And if you have no idea what I'm talking, if you think the pizza's good there, you need to book your next trip. Skip Disney World this year. Go to New York. Go to Manhattan. Go anywhere in Manhattan. Have pizza there, and then come back and talk to me.
Wasn't that the place where Fred got the pizza? Again, I'm dropping Fred Block's name again. Wasn't that?
We should have just had Fred on the show. What in the world?
The night that we were at Boardwalk. You remember that? Remember that? We went out.
He ran down to get a pizza.
Yeah,
yes,
like midnight. We went and got a pizza, and it wasn't bad. It was probably the best pizza I've ever had on property, and that's
it's almost midnight though. Anything would have tasted good at almost midnight.
Yeah, maybe it was the fact that we were drinking. I don't know.
That also helps.
There it is. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, those are the restaurants that we tend to avoid, and those are our choices. If you have also restaurants that you think are particularly heinous, be sure to post them in this week's show notes over there. Just go to wdwtoday.com. You can post them over there. Want to thank again Van from netcot.com and the Netcot podcast. Thank you, Van.
Absolutely. Always fun to be here.
Great. And that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Line Tessa, Mike Scopa, Mike Newell, the fabulous Annette Owens, and Van, I'm Matt Hotchberg. We'll see you on the next show.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.